I know.
I'm looking out for her.
You are just trying to see man.
Each episode just keeps getting hotter and hotter. Yo.
Men are wired like that. A man would love a woman to hell. His dick would just decide something.
No, he's mine, not his dick. It's not his own entity.
Okay, how about you look at it?
You see this particular clip? This is one clip that trended all over social media. People have dissected it, debated on it. In fact, this is the only clip that I watched before the episode, and I already even formed my thoughts, you know, put together what I was going to say. I was ready to throw a fist, but on watching this scene, watching how everything played out, I was like, it's not really as deep as I thought it was. Because the way I looked at it, the way I was viewing it when I saw those clips, I was like, I'm gonna come here and scatter everywhere. But my thoughts are still the same, but it's just a little lighter. So let's just not jump ship. Let's take it. Let's just analyze the episode as it went. Welcome back to my channel, guys. If you are new here, please do to subscribe, turn on your post notifications so that I can get notified each time I post a brand new video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So at the start of this episode, we saw Annie and Bonang together. Bonang invited Annie out just so she could get the tea concerning herself and Swanky Jerry's situation. You see, Bonang. That babe likes her proco past anything. She's always sourcing for gist, and I think she also gives the vibe of being a confidant, because she's the first person that Annie eventually told about what happened between herself and Swanky Jerry, and she was also the first person that Fantana told about her situation with Diamond. So I think that's the kind of vibe she gives off. So concerning the Annie and Swanky Jerry situation, from Annie's perspective, Annie said that she suggested to Swanky Jerry that they should host a party in Lagos, inviting big celebrities and all of that. Like, she just suggested like a party idea to him, and he kind of brushed it off and was like, it's not a good time to be hosting such. And the next day, I mean later on, he ended up hosting the party on his own without even involving her. Right, so that is the story from Annie's own angle, even though Annie's own story is not entirely complete, but we're going to talk about that later. Now, Bonang also invited Zari to meet up with them, and Annie did not even know about it. But when Zari came, they hugged. And I was like, okay, you guys are hugging now, impressive. Even though in the last episode, Annie greeted Zari when at Fantana's house, and Zari seemed very excited about the fact that Annie was greeting her. So I was like, okay, I think we are getting somewhere, and now they are hugging. No while, and let's see how this plays out. So they all started talking about the Annie and Swanky Jerry situation, and Annie was like, you should ask Swanky Jerry. Say you guys are friends. You guys are like close, so you should ask him. Zari now revealed that she had spoken to Swanky Jerry about it, and Swanky Jerry said that he introduced Annie to the Johannesburg crowd, and Annie is now acting all brand new. I was like, Zari, how are you going to just drop a bomb like that? Like, this kind of thing is not what he would tell the person, especially based on the fact that you are closer to Swanky Jerry than Annie. Like, you're much more closer to Swanky Jerry than Annie. So why are you giving her this particular tea? It's only going to stir things up even further, like hearing that somebody saying you're acting all brand new and all of that. So I don't know, I didn't feel like she was supposed to tell her that. It's not helping any matter. Then while this was going on, there was another meeting between Swanky, Kanye, Kelly and Nadia. He was explaining his own side of the story. He said that he's the one that brought up the idea of a party. So now we have Annie saying she's the one that brought up the idea. Swanky is on the other hand saying he's the one that brought up the idea. And I'm just like, okay, who is saying the truth? I feel like Swanky's own is a little bit more believable because he's more of a showbiz person than Annie. Like, what is Annie's business with a Lagos party? Like, where is that coming from? Although it's still possible, Sha, that she suggested it. There's always the first time for something, or it's probably somebody. Probably somebody that works like behind the scenes. So concerning what I said about Annie's story not being complete, the reason I said that is because how would Swanky just go ahead and do such a thing without any kind of trigger, right? So the story he now gave is what filled in that blank space. That's why he now talked about what exactly the conversation that they had on phone, or how the conversation came about. You guys know I told you that he was on a conference call where Annie was saying things about him that were not exactly pleasant, like horrible things about him. So in this episode, he said that he was on a call with Annie's manager. Annie called in and she didn't know that he was on that call, and she just started talking about how she wanted to do the show without Swanky in being involved. She didn't want Swanky to be in the picture. So that's what kind of like triggered Swanky, and he went ahead and did it on his own. This is still not complete, because why would Annie just be calling to say, oh, I don't want to do with him? Like, what would make her want to do that? Based on the fact that these two people are really, really close. So they never give us the full gist. What made her not want to do with him? What made him do it alone? Like, we are still putting the puzzles together, but for now, that's what exactly happened. He has not also revealed the full details of that conversation, because she said horrible things about him. So I've not heard any of the horrible things right now. So, you know, conversations here and there. Meanwhile, during Zari's reconciliation session with Annie, she kind of revealed that she views Kanye as a snake. That Kanye was just there watching when they were attacking her. That this happened in season 1. So she was just there and they were just attacking her, and she didn't try to solve the issue between Zari and Annie. For me, I don't really view it like that. I don't really see it as being a snake. I feel like Kanye is just somebody that likes to be neutral. Like, she wants to be there for this person and also there for this person. So I don't really see that as a snake behavior per se, right? So on the other hand, in the Swanky gathering, we had Kanye talking about how Annie has been distant since the issue with Swanky. That it's almost like she's extending the whole thing, extending it to the entire group. That she has been trying to like reach out to her, and then she has just been like, you know, distant, and it doesn't really make sense. That Annie is just there for herself. She likes just herself, and that's kind of true. Annie, the only person that Annie has the person's back is 2Face. Every other person are just Jara. Then Kaylee now called Kanye out while she was saying what she was saying. She was like, you shouldn't have called Annie out in front of everybody at your get together. Like, you guys are friends, we understand, but don't do it in front of everybody. Something you can do privately. So I just like the fact that Kaylee called somebody out. Nothing deep. I just like it. I just like seeing how when she does that. I feel like she's like the most diplomatic person in the group, so I like seeing that happen.
You see the king. No, say it to her. That's just my opinion. You shouldn't have done that.
Then over to the dinner that had all these conversations of men being wired the way they are wired. So for the dinner, it was Annie and 2Face that invited some of them out. So basically, according to how the setting was, they invited people that they felt like, you know, they could really trust in the group, or people that they were closer to in the group, right? I was actually shocked to see that they were the ones that invited them. They usually just hang out together. That's Annie and 2Face. So them be doing the invitation, I was like, okay, that's okay. Then the conversation was happening on the table, just normal conversations. We had Andela even telling 2Face that he likes what they have as a couple, just the fact that they're able to still stand strong together. After some time, the conversation now shifted. It was that whole talk that kind of shifted the conversation. We had 2Face talking about how he sees relationships and marriage, that it's all about saying what you want plainly, which I think makes sense. Then the whole conversation now went deeper. He was not talking about how he can only make love with the person that he loves, but he can fuck outside when his manly nature raises its head.
I'm only gonna make love to who I love, but I can fuck when my manly nature. Yeah, but actually that goes on.
Now this is what now got others looking like, okay, what are we saying here? How did the conversation get to this point, and what exactly are you referring to? Are you making a general statement, or you're talking about yourself? Then he now continued what he was trying to say. He was now trying to explain what he was saying, that he feels like men are wired like that a man can love his woman so much, and then he may be out there and his manhood is saying something else, and you know, he just obeys the manhood. So it's basically his mind, the person's mind and the manhood, they are working on a different, they're operating on a different level, right? And it's almost like this was a trigger for Nadia. She just, you know, she kept poking to know what exactly he was talking about. Like, you see, we are talking about here, and you could see the disgust on her face, like, who is this man? What are you saying, kind of thing.
Like it or not, men are wired like that. A man would love a woman to hell.
100%.
But maybe he's somewhere. His dick will just decide something.
No, he's mine, not his dick. It's not its own entity.
Okay, how about you look at it?
And Dele was trying to get her to like relax on the interrogation because, you know, it wasn't really helping anything, and she wasn't cut out for that. She wasn't trying to even stop. She just, you know, kept at it, which I think wasn't really necessary, to be honest, because this was a gathering where they invited people that they felt like they could be safe around. So that energy wasn't really needed. Even if she felt like what he was saying wasn't making sense, I feel like she should have gone about it in a different way. I'm even surprised they invited her, because I don't feel like Nadia really likes them like that, and sometimes she can be a little bit shady. So I didn't think that she'd be in that circle of, oh, I feel safe around this person, you know. So 2Face was now saying that he wasn't referring to himself in this situation. He was just talking about how he sees things and how he reasons per se.
That's what he said. Don't, you better stop. You're gonna get stabbed.
I don't necessarily
Hold on.
do
He's
it.
not talking about himself.
Okay, yeah, that's
I don't
what he
necessarily
was trying
do
to
it,
get to. That's what
but
I'm saying.
I know that this is like
how men are wired.
Yes.
At this point, Annie was not even having it. She left the conversation because she was embarrassed, obviously. She said she wanted to go use the restroom. And I feel like that was a clue for him to end the conversation. They should have just ended the conversation there. But 2Face was still talking. Nadia was still poking to know what she already understood. Because I feel like at this point, she understood what he was saying. She just kept like trying to push some buttons a little bit. So, you know, they just continued, right? Meanwhile, 2Face seemed high AF. Like his body movements and what he was saying, the way he was doing, it just looked like he was high on something, to be honest.
I can fuck when my man nature. Yeah, but actually that goes on.
And I told you guys in the other episode that there's a way Annie moves and talks. You feel like maybe this person took something. Sometimes, not every time. So I was just thinking that, you guys, this is just my thoughts. Is it that these two people used to take something? Maybe that's just how they talk. So for me, I'm just going to disagree with 2Face's opinion without exactly coming for his marriage or him as a person, because I feel like this was just his opinion and thought process. It's not exactly that he was justifying it per se. That's why I said that my opinion or the way I viewed it after watching it is kind of like different. So what I think is that, first of all, I don't know what gives some men the idea that men are wired like that. Like, men are not wired to be going around and sleeping around with different women when they are in a committed relationship, all in the name of no strings attached. Like, who wired you guys like that? Which electrician did the wiring? Because I'm not understanding it. I feel like at this point, some guys will be very happy that if they were to go back, and if they had the power to go back and change the creation story, they are going to be very, very happy. They are going to make it in such a way that God created Adam, and he created Adam with like 4 other women. So the story of the creation will be like, God created Adam and he gave him Eve and Chinyere and Nkechi and, you know, several other women to be his companion, just to support this narrative. This narrative is just flawed to me. They are literally ladies, women that literally sleep around with several men and there's no strings attached. Being promiscuous is not gender specific. Like, it is not. If you want to cheat, cheat in peace, cheat away, but don't make it seem like that is the right thing to do, or there's a wiring that is making it happen. It's not. Just cheat away and be going and relax, rest. So back to base. There was a meet-up session between Swanky, Bonang, Fantana, Louis, and Zari, right? And this is where all the heat, this is where everything got really heated up. There was a situation between Louis and Bonang. In the earlier episode, Louis mentioned that he invited Bonang over to Namibia and he failed to book her accommodation. So, you know, things happened and she had to go back to South Africa, right? But the way Swanky Jerry told the story, it was almost like she had flowers in her room, so she went back So she wasn't really having it because she felt like this was coming for her job or coming for her profession, because she said she's a very professional person and the gist did not make it look like she was professional. So she was coming at Louis for saying that. Louis now told her that that's not the case, that it was entirely his fault.
So I apologize. I sincerely apologize.
Oh, you sincerely apologize. So it wasn't my fault.
It wasn't your fault, not at all.
Then after some time, Louis took Fantana to the side to have a conversation with her about his interest, about the fact that he's interested in her and he would like them to go out on a date and, you know, just chill. And in Fantana's confessional, she was like, Louis is not really her type, her usual type per se, because he's like too soft and she feels like she's going to ride on him and everything, but you know, she's just going to see how it goes. So she agreed to hanging out with him. They now went back to the group. Now there was another situation between Zari and Fantana, and it was Swanky Jerry that triggered this one. Swanky Jerry was saying that he wanted to know what's up. He just wanted to be sure that, you know, everybody is in a good space and there's no bad blood. So he was asking Zari how she feels about the whole Fantana situation, and Zari is like, she's not with him, she's not with Diamond, so she's fine, she's good. Why they even asking her? She's not with him and everything. Then the next thing, she's like, she hopes that Diamond does not pull a Nadia on Fantana. And I was like, ha.
I just hope he doesn't pull a Nadia on you.
From where to where, like, how did I even come into this conversation, and why did he come into this conversation? Fantana was still kind of like keeping it cool. She now went on, Bonang now asked like, how, what do you mean? The next thing she's talking about how when it comes to herself and Diamond, that whenever she's in a room, Diamond doesn't see any other person, that they're always very touchy, that's herself and Diamond, and you know, won't it make her feel some type of way? I was like, what's this information for? Like, you literally just told them that you don't have an issue with it. So why are you here trying to tell us that Diamond is still all about you, he still likes you? Like, why are you so excited about that?
The thing is with Diamond, when I'm around, every other female doesn't exist. You know, we forever touchy, cozy. Right. If I was cold right now, he would be probably leaning on me.
I like the way that Fantana handled this situation. She told her that she has had that conversation with Diamond and she doesn't care. She doesn't care what they are doing. She doesn't care what he's doing with other people. Zari, I could tell that Zari wasn't liking that, because her intention was to, like, you know, make Fantana feel uncomfortable. That's the vibe I was getting, but it wasn't really happening. So at this point, she's like, you don't even like the guy, you don't even like Diamond. And she's like, I like him, but the way our relationship is about to be is that you're free to do whatever it is that you want. The next thing Zari now said, and do you know that he's dating somebody?
I don't give a damn.
You don't even like this man. Yeah. You don't even like this man.
No, I do. I'm young. I'm fine as fuck. I don't care.
Do you know Diamond is dating?
Zari is just something else. And they paused for a bit, and I was like, how are they going to handle this one? The next thing, Fantana is like, do you know how many people I'm dating? I'm dating so many people, 4 people, I say.
Do you know how many people I'm dating sitting here?
Not how many people.
Do you know how many people I'm dating sitting here? Like 4.
Zari was not expecting that at all. I think that at this point she felt like, I've finished her, finished everything. So it was just giving, your man is not the prize. Stop using him to feel important. Stop trying to feel important using him. I have other men. Relax your high horse. Come down from it. Your high horse. So that's what I was getting. I like the way that she came at her, because Zari is always like acting like that. It's either you're over him or you're not over him. If you want him, say it. Let's know. Stop stressing me and every other person. So they were still on this whole talk. And the next thing, Louis entered the conversation and he's like, I don't want you to be another of Diamond's. I don't want you to be another of Diamond's side chick.
Don't be another Diamond side chick. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put it out.
Side chick.
From where to where, sir? Like, who are you? And why do you think that your opinion matters in this situation? That's the vibe I would have given him, because where are you coming from? Who are you? Who are you, please? We literally had just one conversation and you now think that you can dictate to me how I'm supposed to be behaving. So he was now talking about, you know, he doesn't want her to be on the list of, on Diamond's list of people that he has been with. That's when Bonang now entered him that women also have lists, that she has a list and she can bang somebody, and you know, and that is going to be it, right? Louis was now saying that he was just looking out for her. And to be honest, I actually understand Louis's angle. Like, he said he wants her to be more about her brand than the whole Diamond situation. Let her name not just be revolving around Diamond. I understood what he was saying, but it sounded more like he was coming from a selfish angle, based on the fact that he just had a conversation with her about wanting to be with her and everything. So it sounded like he was coming from a selfish angle, and he was not doing it the right way. This is something that you'd have had, this is a conversation that you would have had with her in private. Like, you can just be advising her that, okay, you know, it makes sense for you to just promote your brand more on this show and be less of, let it be less about Diamond, let it be more about you as a musician, not this thing that you just did, you know. It's not enter. Then the next thing, he brought in the entire society into the equation, saying that her whole name, everything about her will be, that would be what her whole name is going to be about, that society doesn't see it that way. Nah, what do you even say about society? He sha brought society, talking about how they will view it. And Bonang is like F society. She has banged all the big celebrities and she's still standing. She's still who she is, right?
Going to which standard set by who? In what era?
I'm looking out for her.
You are just trying to see. Fontana, do you? If you want to sleep with him and leave him tomorrow, it will be fine.
You're saying that now, but society won't take it back.
Where's society? I'm one of the biggest stars in Africa. I'm still standing. One man think is bigger than the music. Where's just trying to see Bawena?
That's just how the conversation went. At some point, they now moved on to the whole Louis and the issue that happened between herself and Louis. She, at some point, she started taking it too far, to be honest, because she was now talking about how Louis was lying about his Namibia situation. Meanwhile, I think it was Swanky that did not give her the real story. Like, he just said you came and I couldn't book your hotel, you went back. Like, it's not even that deep. So when she got to this part, I was just like, okay, there's something else that's triggering her. Not maybe that topic is something that just triggers her. Like, okay, what are you saying? I think there are people that triggers her, like saying about the whole thing of, oh, you're not supposed to be like this as a woman, da 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 da. So I think the entire trigger just made her go all the way, have like that full-blown blowout, which was too much because Louis had apologized, like he said. So, you know, you need to calm down and relax. At some point, she got angry and she left. Meanwhile, there was something that happened earlier on. Zari revealed to Swanky Jerry that Annie played his voice notes for them. That's herself and Bonang. The voice notes where he was telling Annie that they needed to talk. So she played it for them. And Swanky Jerry was just like really embarrassed that Annie would do that. Like, why would you be playing my voice notes for them when this is something that's meant to be for you and I? Bonang was now telling him that they're the ones that really poked her to say what the situation was. That's why she revealed it. Zarisha, she just, they say things. They say things. Okay. Well, Sha, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. There's so much to happen in this episode, but let me know what you think about this episode. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Bye. Love you.